Hey Warhammer fans, welcome to my new video where I will show you how the GrimD10 basic rules function, so you get an idea of how the game plays. A lot of people subscribed, well a lot, no, more people subscribed to my channel and watched my video, my latest video about, GrimD10, and that I want to show it to you and I want you to try it out and play it. Some of you are doing that right now. Great, thank you. And another thank you to another YouTuber called Breakfast with Bando. He did a small shout out at the end of one of his videos, which also led some people to my video. So thank you, Bando. And here I will show you how the game works, but I will show it in I will show GrimD10 in Roll20, because to me that's just easy, clear. Also for you, and I can keep the rules here next to my side, so I can easily show you how the basics work. Here we have Roll20, by the way, is just a free free app, free website, where you can play board games. Mainly it's used for Dungeons and Dragons, but in this case it's fine for Warhammer, especially to show you things and to test things out in the game. If you actually want to play GrimD10, I do recommend playing it in real life. So here we have a board that's 48 inches, I believe, right here. Yep, 48. And then 60 or more inches wide. And that's enough. And with these, I will show you some of the basic stuff in the game. Just some scenario stuff. How do you move? How do you shoot? When do I get to activate? When do I get to perform a reaction? That kind of stuff. Because that's all in the game. For if you don't know, GrimD10 is an alternative rule set for Warhammer 40k that I'm creating with the help of, anybody who's playing it. You can put down your suggestions or criticism, or if you're positive about it, go ahead and tell me. And I'm using older editions to create this rule set. I'm using the lore, and I'm of course using fun. All that together makes this game. Well, I guess the last ingredient will be you. Oh yeah, GrimD10 has a alternating activation system, which is kind of popular nowadays, I know. I've been working on this since 2011. No, 2021. And during 9th edition. And it's been growing well, growing and going well. And we use D10 dice, by the way. That's why it's called GrimD10. So let's just get into it. First, you just create your army, like you're normally used to. Here in the rules, you can find some detachments that you can choose from, like you're used to in 9th edition, 8th edition, 7th edition, 3rd edition, all the way up to 9th edition, essentially, in a way. And so you choose one. These are just basic ones. More will be added later on, I think. And you build up your army. So here we have some Tyranids, we have Space Marines. I've just put something down. I don't think the points are fair. It doesn't matter in this situation. I will use these units to show kind of how a game progresses. So you put down your army, you create your army, you put down your army, you have deployed. This is great. Okay, we have this. We also have some Terminators in Deep Strike. And what you need for this game, which is important, the things you need is one, of course, Warhammer and an opponent and a table and terrain. Yeah, you also need dice, D6s and D10s. I recommend having at least 20 D10s. If you can get 10 or more, that's great too. But 20 is a nice Nice. Then you've enough, essentially. In most cases, you'll have enough. You need measuring sticks, your basic Warhammer stuff. You also need something to represent, which is unique to this game, I think, in a way. Not completely, but in a way. We're going to use tokens, right? I have some designed here. Broken morale, fallback, damaged, activation tokens. That's kind of what you need. We also have steady and pinned somewhere. Okay, guess they're not here anymore. Doesn't matter. You need something to represent that thing. Could be those water drops, glass things. Could be dice. Could be just little coins. Something. You just need something to represent these tokens. So, the game is created or played through phases. First we have the command phase. Then we have the command phase where you use special abilities that say that you can use them in the command phase. You also see if your reinforcements, your reserves will be deployed this round. Because you do need to roll for it. They're not that reliable. Then you have the consolidation phase where you fall back, pile in, that kind of stuff. Then you have the psychic phase where you cast your psychic powers, which I will show in this game a little bit of too, of how that works, because we do have a hive tyrant, so Tyranids can cast some psychic powers. Then you have the advance phase, which is the big, most important phase where you move, you shoot, and you charge, but you don't fight yet. You don't do that yet. You do that in the assault phase. Then you roll actually dice. Yeah, you roll dice to inflict wounds and damage. You just in the advance phase you move, shoot, and charge, but you don't fight yet. Then you have the end phase where things end. Okay, maybe you score some victory points if you're playing that type of mission. And by the way, talking about missions, you can use any type of mission system in here. You can create your own mission system. You can play missions from 10th edition, 11th edition. You can play from 5th edition, 3rd edition. You can even try out bolt action missions. I think that might work too. In any type of mission you're playing, you do need some little bit of player agency. Okay? Because sometimes an old rule set talks about stealing the initiative, which is not really a thing, but you can if you want to. It's up to you. Let's just go over a phase. Command phase. Let's say we're in the command phase and the Space Marine player has the initiative. Initiative switches every round to the other player. What does that mean? It means you get to do something first. Then the other player goes. So if we have the command phase, that means the Space Marine player chooses a unit to do their command stuff with. Which in this case, we only have one, which is the captain. And we look at the captain right here in the Space Marine rules, which you can get in the Discord. By the way, you can get all the rules in the Discord. The link is in the description. Here we have Inspire Infantry. It's a command ability, that means you do it in the command phase. So you do it right now. And what do you get to do? You target one other friendly infantry or cavalry unit within 6 inches. It may add +1 to its hit rolls until the end phase. End phase. So this whole round, let's say. So you have the captain right here. He chooses an infantry or cavalry unit. 6 inches. Well, cannot choose the assault squad. So I guess the only option left is the tactical squad. Because he cannot target a vehicle, because that's not infantry. So what you do, you probably place some kind of reminder for yourself. Like I have given these Space Marines a bonus. Great. Now the command phase has been finished for the Space Marines. And then the Tyranids may go. As far as I remember, they do not have something to do right now with these units in the command phase. They don't have command abilities. So we move on to the next phase. Consolidation phase. Well, we don't have anything in close combat, so we don't get to fall back. So we can move on to the psychic phase. Let's do the psychic phase. The only psyker on the field is the Hive Tyrant. So he gets the turn. He gets to go first. If the Space Marine player had a Librarian, then the Space Marine player, because he has the initiative, gets to use his Librarian first, and then the Tyranid player chooses one of his psychic units to go, and then the Space Marine player gets the initiative back and gets to choose another unit that hasn't done its psychic powers yet to do its psychic powers, and it goes back and forth like that. Easy peasy. Psychic powers, I will just go over it briefly. Let's just go over here. Oh, let's go over to the Tyranid psychic powers. Here they are. It's called the Hive Mind Discipline. And when you create your army, right here, Psyker option tells you how many psychic powers your unit knows. Well, this Hive Tyrant knows 3 additional psychic powers of your choice from the Hive Mind Discipline. It always knows Smite, and then you can know 3 more of your choice. And the Tyranids have some decent choices. They have 16 psychic powers to choose from. So you've picked your 3, and now you're like, okay, I'm going to cast 3 psychic powers. Well, no, not really. You have Psyker 2. So you can cast 2 psychic powers. That's what it says right here. 2 psychic powers. So let's just say he wants to do Catalyst. He knows Catalyst and you want to cast Catalyst. Great. It has Surge 5. Okay. Let's see if that works out. How do you do that? How do you make a psychic test? Because you need to do a test. It's not going to just happen. The warp is fickle. Alright? So what you do, whenever you have to make a psychic test, you roll 3 D10 dice. In this Roll20 application, website, it's pretty easy. /roll 3d10. I think it's space. And that's all I need to do. I'll just press enter. And there they are. I did my test. I rolled my test, my psychic test. Here it is. And I rolled a 3, a 1, and an 8. Catalyst has a surge of 5, as you might see here. That would mean that 2 of those dice need to be a 5 or higher to succeed, to be a success. Sadly, I only rolled 1 success, because 1 is an 8, which is 5 or higher. Then I rolled a 1, and I rolled a 3. So I failed. I didn't do the catalyst. So nothing else happens. Psychic power didn't happen. If I rolled 3 successes, which means, 3 of them were 5 or higher, I could do this, the major success, which tells me in addition the psyker also gets targeted for the power. So if I would have targeted the Gauns with the getting the feel no pain from getting the catalyst off, then he would also get the bonus. That's a nice little cute little bonus. But sadly it didn't happen. But I have Psyker 2! Great, I can try again. No. You can only cast this psychic power once every round. You cannot, for the unit. Another unit could try, but not this one. But he knows more. Maybe he knows Onslaught, for example. Okay, Surge 6. We'll try again. Target 1 friendly unit within synapse range, which is, in this case, 12 inches. Because how Tyranids work. Again, I won't go through all the details. I'm just showing you how psychic powers work now. So I will target this one. I roll 3d10. 2 of them need to be a 6 or higher. Failed again. Darn. Okay. That's my psychic phase. If it would have been a success, again, I will put a little reminder at that unit, little token, a die or whatever, something so you don't forget. And your opponent doesn't forget either. And that's how psychic power simply set work. You can also deny the witch, but you can read that up in the main rules. It's not that big of a deal. I want to go through this quickly. Okay, I think I already spent too much time on this. So, we've done our psychic phase, great. We go to the advanced phase, the biggest, most important phase of all. We give every unit a activation token, which could look like this, or you use a die, or you use whatever, something to represent the activation token. Every unit gets one, even the one in reserves, except for the first battle round, because they cannot enter on the first battle round. It all depends if they're going to be into the battlefield or not. So every unit gets one. These Carnifex are two individual units, so they both get one. These warriors are one unit. And there we have it. Every unit has an activation token, and this is to help you remember which units can activate, which ones have already done their activation. This is a good reminder of it. And the token is used in other ways sometimes too, for reactions, for example. So we've done that, and then it's rather easy. The player with the initiative gets to activate one unit. One unit. After the Space Marine player has done that, then the Tyranid player can activate one unit. And you do this en om, oh that's Dutch. You do this back to back until all the activation tokens are gone. So, for example, let's say the Space Marine player wants to activate his tactical squad right there. He chooses that one. Great. Then you get to choose an action to perform, because there are multiple actions to perform. Basic actions. There are also some special unique actions that units might unlock through war gear or special abilities. So what you do is the Space Marine player chooses the tactical squad, removes the activation token, and says, I want to perform the action advance. There it is. Those are your options. Advance, run, steady, close range fire, or you pass. That's it. Those are the basic actions. So he chooses to advance. That means he gets to move, as said here, shoot, and then charge if able. Charging probably won't happen. I'm just selecting these Space Marines right now. And these tactical Marines, how far can they move? Because the advance action tells me I can move, shoot, and charge. So let's do the movement first, because everything does need to be in order. You cannot choose to shoot, then move. That doesn't, It says move, then shoot. So you have to follow that order. So in the troop section right here, with the bloated Space Marine rules, they have movement 6 inches. So they get to move 6. They can go all the way up there if they want to. You can also move less, of course, like any Warhammer game. And they move around here. Great, now they get to shoot. They'll pick a target. Their bolt guns, which I can find in the next page of their rules. Rapid fire 1, 24 inches away. Okay, the target can be 24 inches. Look at that. Perfect. The gowns are just in range, so they could then shoot at them. They've picked their target, the gowns, right here. As you can see, the gowns right here. They're just in range. They do, however, in this case, shoot through a terrain piece, a forest. which is fine. It just gives the gaunt's cover, but I'll come back to that later. First, we need to hit. Ballistic skill, as you're used to, but where it says 5+. That's because we're using D10 dice. It's GrimD10. Let's roll 1d10, and they hit on a 5. But we have 5 Space Marines there, so we have 5 dice, because it's rapid fire 1. If they're within half range, they could double their attacks, as you're used to with rapid fire. So let's see how many hits they get. Wow, they truly are Space Marines, huh? 5 hits, amazing, not a single miss. We need to look at the Gaunt's toughness. How much toughness does a Gaunt have, you think? It's 2. They have 2 toughness, right there, right there. They're weak. How much strength does a bolt gun have? Well, it's 4. What does that mean? That means we look at the chart, alright? We look at the chart. We look at this amazing chart because we had just made a hit roll. Now we're going to make a wound roll. So we look at the wound roll table. Toughness of the target is 2. Strength 4. 2, 4. 4+ to wound them. We will. 4+ to wound. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is impressive. I didn't rig this. Amazing shooting from the Space Marines. Not a single failure. Wow. Amazing. Luckily, the Gaunts can still make a save roll, which is a save of 9+. Pretty bad on a D10 die roll. Pretty bad. And it's even worse because a bolt gun is a powerful weapon and has an AP value, armor penetration value, of -1. So it lowers their saves to a 10. A 10+. So now, normally, the Tyranid player, let's just do it for this example, needs to roll 5d10 and save him on a 10. I'm guessing 0. Yeah. So 5 of them would die. The thing is, they do shoot through a forest. And before you play the battle, you need to agree with your opponent what kind of rules every terrain piece has, you know. There are forests. Forests normally you can look through them. In this rule book, by the way, they are always explained of what a terrain piece can be. Battlefield terrain. There's clear, concealing, cover, dangerous terrain, defense lines, difficult terrain, floors, impassable, obscuring, open, and stable, and you can apply multiple of these to one terrain piece. As there are here some examples. A forest, you might want to give cover, light cover, difficult terrain, obscuring, and open. Open means anybody, oh no, infantry can navigate through it. But maybe you're like, these trees are so far apart. You could just make it clear. That means everything can move through it. It's all up to you. Before the game begins, you just apply these keywords to terrain pieces. These little rules. Might seem intimidating, everything, but it's like learning a new language. Eventually, you'll know. And if you're already used to, let's just say 9th edition and before, this will be very clear and easy to you. So normally, a forest would provide them, because you're looking through it, a cover save. And you're allowed to look through the forest because it is obscuring and not concealing. Obscuring means you're allowed to look through it, but it provides them cover. And trees provide light cover, which gives them an 8+ cover save. And cover saves kind of like, they work like in older previous editions, where you get or your armor save, or you get a cover save, or you maybe have a vulnerable save. And you just choose one of these three. And the thing is, AP only affects armor, because it's armor penetration. So you still just get your cover save. So in this case, the Tyranids would have an 8+ cover save. They still would have failed though. It's a terrible roll. Still 5 would have died. Goodbye, Gauns. Normally the Gauns would now need to make a morale test because they lost 25% or more wounds from their total unit. In this case, doesn't really matter because Tyranids, if they are within synapse range, they're fearless. They don't care. They don't care. So, that's how shooting works, that's how cover works, and that's how armor penetration works. Of course, I just removed the front ones. You can choose to remove the back row 5 ones. That's totally fine. I could have removed the ones in the back. It's up to you. All those minute little details, you can find them all in this core rule book. It's main rules PDFs. Core rule PDF. Then, let's just say the Tyranid player, now gets to activate. Space Marine player is activated, now the Tyranid player can activate. Great. Tyranid player chooses to activate the Hormagaunts. The Hormagaunts are going to activate, removes the token, chooses an action to perform. Let's say they're going to run. I'm going to run. Where are the actions? Here they are. Run. This unit may make a move and at half its speed, which, by the way, it should say movement. So we look at the Hormagaunts, their movement is 8, and if they would run, they get to add half of that to it. So that means they will go up to 12. 12. Let's say this is 12 inches. The thing is though, that's normally how running works, and their activation would now end, and now the Space Marine player gets to go. However, there's a little thingy. The Hormagaunts have the rule fleet, which means if they would run, they get to move twice as far. Instead of adding half of it, they get to double. So they get to actually move another 4 inches. Oh, they're very close now. Next turn they could probably charge you. The Space Marine player needs to take care of these Hormagaunts right now. Hormagaunts have always been fast. So that would end the Tyranid turn. That's that activation. Cool. Then the Space Marine player wants to activate his captain. He wants to activate his captain, which is totally fine. You can do that, of course. It's a unit. It has an activation token. You can activate it. And he will. There he is. The captain. He's got a special rule that a lot of HQ units have. A lot of other units too. Which is called command. Right now it's called command. I still kind of want to change that name, because it might confuse people with the command phase, but it doesn't have anything to do with the command phase. Sorry about that. But what it means is, if you activate him, you get to activate something else of your army too, as a shared activation. Which could be the Predator or the Tactical Squad, because it has to be within 6 inches normally. So let's just say he's going to activate his Tactical Squad as a shared activation. That's something you declare when you activate your captain, because he has command. So you take away their activation token too, and then you're going to tell your opponent what action you're going to perform. The thing is, as a shared activation, you are allowed to divide up your sub-actions. Sub-actions are, for example, with the advance phase, move, that's a sub-action. Shoot, that's its sub-action. And then charge. Advance consists of 3 sub-actions, making it, together of course, the advance action. So in this case, he is allowed to, because these two are activating at the same time, it's a shared activation. The Space Marine player is allowed to move with its tactical squad, then move with its captain, and then it's allowed to shoot with its captain, and then it's allowed to shoot with its tactical squad, and then it's allowed, maybe, if possible, to charge with its tactical squad and then with the captain. Or first with the captain, or you first move the captain, you shoot with the captain, you charge with the captain, and then you move with the tactical squad. You shoot with the tactical squad, and you charge with the tactical squad. It's all up to you. You just have to go by the normal order of the advance phase, advance action. That's how a shared activation works. That's how you can be a bit more tactical with how you activate things. That's how you can protect your leaders, your HQ too. Because you can keep them close to the unit so they gain the benefit from protection. Protection is a way to, not being able to immediately shoot your leaders because they are close to another unit. Simply said. That's another detailed rule that doesn't need explaining. I just want to show you what the basics are. So that's a basic thing. That's an important thing of the game. Let's say they shoot, they destroy a couple. You know how shooting works. So they destroy a couple Hormagaunts. Great. Good job, guys. Then the Tyranid player goes, because it goes from back to back. Let's just say the Tyranid player wants to activate one of his Carnifex. The cool thing is with a Carnifex, you might think, well, isn't that one unit normally? Yes, it is normally one unit. In a way, but right now they are separate units. The useful thing though, you do get them with 1 to 3 units. Once they are deployed on the battlefield, they are separate units. But they have squadron, which means if you activate one model that has squadron, or let's just say one unit that has squadron, I activate him, the Tyranid player activates his Carnifex, and now is allowed to choose another within 4 inches, part of its squadron, how you buy them as a unit, to also activate as a shared activation. Just like how I showed you with the captain. Of course, they can only pick something that's part of their squadron. And if they're too far apart, like here, or like this, they're not part of the squadron anymore. They're too far apart. They're not really working together. So they cannot activate together. They cannot have a shared activation. So, but right now they are close enough. So they're within 4 inches. So they can activate, they can have their shared activation. So if they would run, they don't have fleet. So they will just have a total movement of 9 inches. So, like this, around like this. And that's how activation works, and that's how shooting works. Then, let's say we go through the turn, things activate, things shoot. And I'll show you some close combat. I've shown you shooting, I will show you close combat. Let's presume these Hormagaunts are going to charge. It's still the advance phase, by the way. It's the advance phase where we're like the next turn in, and they remove their activation token. Okay, so Tyranid player, it's his activation. He gets to activate. He's going to choose his Hormagaunts. Okay, great. And he is going to move. He went to move all the way up to here. Now he's moved here, right? They were here. He's moved them up to here. And now he is going to declare a charge. Oh my god, a charge. He's going to declare this unit right here for the charge. You could target multiple. It's just that with the space in between here, it's a bit more difficult, to conga line all the way. Because you do need still need unit coherency. A model, a unit needs to be within certain coherency of each other, all the models inside the unit. So he's going to declare a charge which is, on how we use Roll20, it's 3 inches away. Yeah, rather close. But the tactical squad still has an activation token. What does this mean? Well, one of the reactions a unit can do is Overwatch. And it tells you when you can use the reaction. Right here. The Hormagaunts are targeting this unit. So this unit right here, this unit of Space Marines, is going to use their activation token to Overwatch. That means they will shoot, but with a -2 penalty, as you can read here. You already know how shooting works. Normally Space Marines would hit on a 5+, now they would hit on a 7+. Great. The interesting thing is, this unit right here of tacticals, they have line of sight to this unit declaring a charge. So they are also, even though they're not targeted, they can also Overwatch. Spending your token, spending that tactical squad's turn to Overwatch and help out against the Hormagaunts. That's allowed. Of course, if they would still have the bonus of the captain, that still applies. If they got it again next turn, if this is round 2, yeah, they have the bonus again. They get a +1 to hit. So essentially, they only get a -1 penalty on their Overwatch. Great. Let's say they both Overwatch. They kill a couple Hormagaunts. Good job, guys. You know how shooting works. I'm not going to show it to you again. Charging is rather simple. Reroll, like you're kind of used to. 2d6. Oh. 2d6. Look at that. We got an 8. Easy. I could go all the way around here. Doesn't matter. Here we are. The Hormagaunts are in. Any other friendly unit here of the Space Marines, and also same for the Tyranids, you cannot shoot into combat. Now, the Hormagaunts are now, for this moment, safe. If we go to the assault phase, which is after the advance phase, then, we get to do the close combat that's happening here. Right now, you still activate everything else. You just leave these guys be. The thing is, you're probably asking, what if they failed their charge? What if they failed? They didn't get to move. Then the Space Marine player kind of, maybe wasted his activation token. That could be. That could definitely be. What if the Space Marine player didn't choose to Overwatch? They still had their activation token. And the Tyranid player declared a charge. It failed. You didn't Overwatch. Good choice, I guess, because now the Space Marine player, this tactical squad, still has their whole turn left. It's a gamble you need to take. You need to be tactical. That's up to you. You don't have to Overwatch. The thing is, what if they chose not to Overwatch, but the Hormagaunts did pass the charge? That would mean that the activation token is gone of the Space Marines. If you're charged, your activation token is gone. All of a sudden, you're jumped. You didn't expect to. You didn't Overwatch. You jumped. You just let it happen. Whatever narrative you want to make up. You're too busy now. So we got this close combat right here. What if every other unit activated? Redemptor right here. He's done his turn, done some shooting. And now we go to the close combat. So, what happens first? First, normally, the unit that has charged gains the rule first strike. Means they get to strike first. There's no initiative here. If you charge, you get to go. So, then the tyranny player goes first with his Hormagaunts, because they have first strike. And they will strike at the tacticals. You count how many are within range, which is described in the rules how you do that. It's not that difficult, you know, it's just base contact and base contact of a friend. Then you look at how many attacks you will get. The Hormagaunts have 1 attack each per model. However, they do have the weapon Scything Talons, which means they get attack +1. They get an extra attack with that weapon, so they essentially have 2 attacks per model. Let's say all of them are within range to attack. Let's just say that, okay, in this example. We have how many Hormagaunts left? I see 9, 10, 12 Hormagaunts, which would mean 24 dice. Oof. 24 D10. How much do we need to hit? Because what I see is ballistic skill. I can clearly see what I need to hit you, but here it just says 3. Weapon skill 3. What does that mean? Do I hit on a 3+? No. No, you don't. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? No. What you do is you look at the Space Marine, because your weapon skill tells you how good you are in close combat. Also tells you how survivable you are. How you can survive in close combat. It's your overall skill. It's attack and defense. So we go to the tactical squad. They have weapon skill 5. You, as a Hormagaunt, have weapon skill 3. What does that mean? Well, like, guess what? We got the only other table left. The weapon skill hit roll table. Yes, it's here. It looks intimidating, but that's because it's Warhammer. 40k. It's not intimidating though. Warhammer is, but not this table. So, Defender, that's the Space Marine. 5, right there. He's got weapon skill 5. Which is a really nice elite average. Weapon skill attacker, 3. 3 and 5. 7+. Oh my god. 24 attacks and I hit on a 7+. Let's see how many hits I get. It's rolling the dice, takes a while. It's 24 dice. Takes a long time. Why? Okay, there it is. So, we have our hit rolls. We have 9 successes. Maybe that's average. Maybe a little bit worse. So, we have 9 successes. Great. However, there's a little rule that the Hormagaunts have with their Scything Talons. It also says ceaseless, which would mean you get to re-roll your hit rolls of 1, which is 3 of them. So, let's just do that quickly. Great. Doesn't matter at all. So, 9 successes, 9 hits. Now we go back to the thing we did before with the wound roll. We use this one again. Great. We have strength, user. The user is the Hormagaunt, which has strength 2. Strength 2 versus the tactical squad, tactical marine, space marine, toughness 4. Okay, so strength 2. 2 right here versus toughness 4. I wound the Gormagaunts. What are those? Hormagaunts are going to wound the Space Marines on an 8+ with 9 dice. 9 were actual hits. 8+. 1. Wow. Space Marines are so tough. Huh? Amazing. So, next thing, armor save. Space Marines have a 4+. Power armor gives you a 4+ armor save. Oh my god. Space Marine rolls it safe. It's a 9. He makes it. He no damage taken. If he would take damage, he, they would deal 1 damage apiece, those attacks. So, not that big of a deal to a Space Marine, because Space Marines have 2 wounds each. So, he could just survive that. After that, the Space Marine would attack. You probably, it works the same, but I think you probably want to see how much they kick ass against Hormagaunts. So sure, we have 5 tactical Marines here. Let's just say that. There's no Sergeant in here. Whatever. Just 5 Space Marines in this case. They have 2 attacks each. Okay. So that would mean 10 of them, because they don't have first strike. So after the Hormagaunts would, have attacked, now the Space Marines get to go. They have weapon skill 5. Gaunts have weapon skill 3. What does that mean? That means the Space Marines will hit these Gaunts, these Hormagaunts. Attacker has 5. Right here. Defender has 3. They hit them on a 4+. On a D10? Oh my god, that's pretty good. The Space Marines are so strong. Wow. Oh, that is, again, it's a good roll. Only 2 misses. You would think they would have 3 misses, but no, they're a little bit above average. So, that would mean now we have 8 hits. Space Marines have strength base 4. The Hormagaunts have toughness 2. That would mean toughness 2 versus strength 4. Another 4+ to wound them. 4. Not great. Not great. The punch wasn't hard enough from the Space Marines. But still, 4 go through. So we roll the safe roll. Tell me, what's the safe roll of a Hormagaunt? That's correct. It's a 9+, because you can see it right here. Safe. Armor safe. 9+. You don't benefit from a cover save, because you're not in cover. It's only against shooting attacks, Can't hide behind a wall when somebody's punching your face. And they don't have an invulnerable save. So, 9+ save, armor save, let's go. Pretty good. 2 of them. In this case, 2 Hormagaunts would die, because they only have 1 wood left. Any normal basic attack, because it's not described how Space Marines just fight with the only special close combat weapons are described here. Everything and everybody has got a basic close combat attack, which is just base strength, base attacks with base weapon skill. Rather easy. And it always deals 1 damage, there's no AP involved. They just use some combat knives, their boots, their hands, their face to kick the Hormagaunts into the ground. In this case, the Hormagaunts have lost combat because they dealt no casualties and the Space Marines dealt 2 casualties. In this case, the Hormagaunts would now need to make a leadership test after all the combat in the assault phase has been finished. Because they lost by 2, they would suffer a -2 to their leadership. If the Hormagaunts are in Synapse though, they would be fearless. They will automatically pass. If a unit has a broken morale token, they suffer a -1 penalty to their hit rolls, shooting in close combat. They also get a -1 on their armor saves. Ooh, a little bit less survivable when you're panicking. And you cannot control any objectives. Rather harsh. You don't want to be broken morale. You don't want it. You don't want to have it. You don't want to be it. You don't want to be near it. The thing is, after in the advanced phase, if the Hormagaunts would receive their turn, their activation, they can try to remove the broken morale token by passing a leadership test after their activation. So then they get to do their stuff, then you can try to remove it again. So, and that's simply said close combat with broken morale. If a unit does have broken morale and they're in close combat, that means they are forced to fall back in the consolidation phase. I want to cut this video off right now because it's already too long. I hope this brings some basic understanding of how the game works. There are many more rules. You don't have to know all of them. Not necessary, because that's why this book is here. That's why you can get these core rules. Especially with things like the universal special rules. A lot of units use some of these rules. You don't have to know them from the top of your head. You can just find them here. And there are a lot of them. Because throughout the editions, there have been a lot of them. There are transports. There is vehicles can get damaged if they lose enough wounds, if they suffer enough damage. They can get mechanical damage. You roll a 1d10 and see what happens here. Monsters, instead, like the Tyranid Hive Tyrant or Carnifex, would just get weakened. They suffer a -1 penalty, 2 hit rolls, and I believe they suffer movement. Yeah, its movement is -1 and hit rolls are -1. And go to the Discord. You can download the rules there. You can try it out yourself. And if you have any questions, please ask me. If you would like a game on Roll20, we can do that. I have it all set up. You just need an account. I give you the, let's just say the code to go into this little server. And we can just play a game throughout Discord and Roll20. Totally fine. I've done it multiple times. It works fine to play test and to show you how the basics. So if you're interested in that, please just send a message. Yeah, okay. I guess that's it. That's my video. Thank you for watching. Again, join this Discord if you're interested, especially with like 11th edition of Warhammer on the way. I can understand. I rather play that. I can understand that. It's just Warhammer is not made for me anymore, and I think there are many more people like me that feel this way. And this is a fun response game where you can counterplay each other because you're, alternating activations. And there are things from the past that are back. I like the weapon skill versus weapon skill. There are different types of weapons that are really fun to use. Every army's got really their own unique feeling. A lot of armies have their rules now. Not every army, but a lot of them. And yeah, again, thank you for watching. I've got so much more to tell, but I need to end the video somewhere. So, put down a comment, join the Discord, send me a message. Try it out. GrimD10.